Hello, everybody. Teaserking here. Hope everybody is well. How's my Teaserking family doing? I can see my video, my mic is on, so I'm happy there. Anyway, so I did the separate video on the Ponzi scheme because I do run long videos and people won't maybe necessarily find them or anything. So I'm kind of thinking if I should run a football video and an economics or poker video separately. Really, it's a little easier to follow, but I don't know. I'll think about it. So, watching Money Heist and the attack on Wall Street and everything else led me into believing, to understanding it's all a Ponzi scheme. And gold was always the key to getting out of the maze, to getting out of the Ponzi scheme, to getting out of the game. It's always gold. And I guess if you're a big bank, you don't really need it because you can just print the money. So it doesn't need to have a big value. But then everybody doesn't understand the power of gold and they don't understand the value of gold. And they hold onto their 50,000 in the bank thinking, oh, I'm safe. I got the money in the bank. Why would I get rid of it? Why would I buy gold? I've got money. And this is the problem with people. All right. Let's talk football. So we had a game last night, Baltimore 34, Cincinnati 20. I looked at it at first. It was 7-3 Baltimore. I was just checking the score. Then it's 10-7 Cincinnati. And I'm going, oh, okay. So I'm wondering, what happened. And then I see Joe Burrow got hurt. And he hurt his wrist, and he didn't get hit on the play, supposedly. Then somebody saw him. The wrist was hurt before the game, which he wasn't on the injured list. So I don't really know. Let's see there was one college game. Pitt 24, BC 16. I didn't play the game, but I did like BC because Pitt was a Z team. Pitt wins 24-16 at 2.5. So 8.5 BC wins. Interesting. Okay. So let's go through the pro line real quickly. So yeah, 34-20, 34-20, Burrow's out. Now you're saying you think Brady's going to come back to Cleveland. I don't know that you can just walk in somewhere and not pray. I mean, you got to understand practice is very important. That's why all these injuries, because they're not doing preseason. It really makes no sense. This is why everybody's getting hurt. They're not playing in preseason. So it's very ironic. They don't want to play in preseason because they don't want to get them hurt. And what do? I've never seen so many injuries. I mean, it takes me a half hour to go through the injury list. Where there's 20 guys injured. There's 10 of them out on a lot of teams. So it's really weird. So let's quickly go through this. We got Cleveland 1.5, 32.5. Watson's out, so I assume it's Walker against Pickett. Should be a good game. They're both, they both need the game. We'll see. Houston 5.5, 48.5. Up from 4.5. So what's going on? Is Kyler Murray hurt or what? We'll have to check the injury. San Diego 343.5 to Green Bay. Herbert against Love. San Diego obviously can score. Green Bay's they got a 20 defense, but they can't score. Love's terrible. San Diego should win this game. Over under 43. I think you go over 37. I think with San Diego's offense, they will score. I think Love can get them some points. I don't think San Diego's defense is obviously didn't look very good against the Lions, so I think that you can get an over here. I'm very leery about playing favorites in the San Diego game and playing San Diego plus the 3. I did look at that San Diego Jet game I lost because the San Diego blew them out. And then I saw the box score and it was like punt return and a fumble was 14 of the San Diego points because I couldn't believe they scored 26 on the Jets, and they didn't. They scored 13 on them. Washington, 9.5, 37.5, up from 36.5. What do you do with Danny DeVito? I mean, can you bet on the Giants? Can you bet the game over? Do you bet it under because it's DeVito? The Giants are a Z team. Washington's a W, and they both give up 27. How can you play defenses like that under? I don't know. I don't know what you get with Danny DeVito. So we got to wait because we don't know. If it's unknown variables, you can't play it as if you know it. Jacksonville, 7.40.5 over Tennessee. Tannehill, I think, is probable. I don't know if he's been announced against Lawrence. They're both under teams. Tennessee with Henry, they give up 20. Pretty good defense. They make you kick field goals. Jacksonville's a 21. Not a very good team. A lot of like fake bullshit offense where they misdirect and run reverses, and they can't just run it. They can't just do runs and passes. They're not capable. I don't know. I'll have to throw some scores in there as I feel them. The Lions, 7.5, 47.5 against the Bears. Fields is back against Goff, which makes me like Detroit a lot more. I don't know why the line dropped. Why does Fields playing make Chicago a better team? Like, really? He's terrible. He can't complete a pass. At least the grocery clerk could complete passes. So I don't really get that. I kind of like the Lions here, 7.5. I also kind of like the over, but I'm not sure of it. The Lions will score on the Bears. The question is Fields going to run the ball? And because with Fields, normally the Bears are an over team because he runs in for touchdowns. He can't throw, but he runs a lot, and then they just call sweeps and everything, and he'll run it in. So he'll get 20 points running, and then they'll give up 50, and it's an over. So I'm not sure what you'll get there. I'm pretty sure Detroit will win. This is the type of team that Detroit beats, a team without a quarterback and a weak defense. That way they can look how good we are. We beat a team that couldn't win a game in the Big Ten. Miami, 12.5, 46.5. It's a lot of points. I'm scared of a team without a defense. So Oakland's got a 21 and doesn't play too bad. Miami, high-scoring team, gives up 25. They're an over team. O'Connell against Tag. 21 defense against the 25 defense. I don't know. I think Miami should win the game, but I don't know. 12.5 is a big number for a team without a defense. Dallas and Carolina. Dallas 10.5, 41.5. This makes more sense. The Z team, Carolina, against the 18 Dallas. Dallas with the 18 defense, Carolina with the 27. So Prescott should be able to light it up. Micah Parsons should be able to keep Vince Young well in check. Over under on the game's 41. It's a real hard one because does Dallas shut them out? Do they do what they did to the Giants where it's 49-3 against Danny DeVito? Or, are they in the 40s? Well, the over-under is 41. All you need is a 35 in the game, but you're going to have to get all of it from Dallas. Maybe Carolina gets a tie. Carolina's not going to cross the red zone more than once. So let's say 7 for Carolina, Dallas probably in the 30s, which kind of makes it go, oh, why don't I just take Dallas -4? Because let's say they win 38 to nothing. Well, even 38 to nothing is an over. So it's a very low over, but it's because of Dallas's strong defense and the figure Carolina won't score. But Dallas probably can get there. Dallas is the only college team playing in the pros. They like to run up the scores like last week. San Francisco, 11.5, 41.5. To Tampa Bay. Tampa's an under team with a 19. A lot of it's because they play Atlanta and they play Carolina, so they play really weak teams. Frisco is an 8 team, of course, 16 defense, best defense. I think Baltimore's also got a 16. The Jets have a 19. And Kansas City's got a 16. Of all the teams, Kansas City has a 16 defense. I think that's your Super Bowl, Frisco against KC. Maybe now that Joe Burrow is hurt, I thought maybe Denver could make a run at it. The Jets, I thought, could, but Denver now is probably the best chance of knocking off Kansas City. They just beat them 24-7, so you can't say, well, they can't beat KC. They just fucking beat them. And it wasn't a fluke. They nailed them. They killed them. Hey, the Real D. Can't believe Joe Burrow out for the season. Well, when we really dig into it, and let me answer this question. Let me finish up. Seattle won 46.5. As far as I know, Stafford's playing against Smith. They're a whole different team with Stafford, obviously, and Cooper Kupp and the other receiver. They're both under teams. Seattle with the 22 defense, the Rams with 23. Seattle plays a lot of close games. So do the Rams, especially at home. Rams are desperate. They should win. They need to win. Over under 46. I think this goes over. You got a 22 defense and a 23. So really not that good a defense. Seattle, with all their weapons, should score in the 20s here. And the Rams should score in the 20s. It should be 24, 21, somewhere in that way. So 40. We only need 40. I can't imagine this game doesn't get to 40. The JETSS against Buffalo. Buffalo 7-40. The Jets, we know, are the under team because Aaron Rodgers, and I hope he gets back this year. He'll be back next year, but I hope he gets back this year. And a 19. And Buffalo is the A team, questionable with the 18. The Jets beat them the first time, so don't go sitting there. The Jets suck. The Jets do not suck. Wilson's okay. I don't know if it's a play calling. He was horrible at Denver, so I don't know if it was the play calling or what. But this Hackett's just a bad. He can call plays for Aaron Rodgers, right? But he can't call them for Zach Wilson or Russell Wilson. Buffalo's laying. Do you trust Buffalo to beat the Jets? The way they're playing, I don't think so. I mean, it's not automatic. I always like the defense. It's a hard one. Maybe it's an under 40. The Jets aren't going to score much, and they're going to hold Buffalo down. See, if this is Miami, Buffalo puts up 48 points, but against the Jets, they're going to be lucky to get to 20 because it's when you get a good defense, you can control the game better. Denver 2.5, 42.5 to Minnesota with Dobbs. He's benched by fucking Zona. I don't really get it. And the last one, the game of the week, KC 2.5, 45.5. Philly, the B team, gives up 22. KC's the B team, gives up 16. Hurts against Mahomes. Obviously, Mahomes is better. I think Philly is the dog, is probably a good play. I don't know if they'll win because it's really KC's defense. What would normally be a lock over is now questionable because of KC, the strong defense they have. It's really – they played Miami 21-40 to 14. Granted, it was in Germany, That was a 35. This is a 45. So it makes it, you need 39. I can't imagine Philly doesn't get into the 20s. So it's got to be, 24-17 and you got there. So I think that's a low score, but I think Mahomes will get there. But, he's going to have problems. He's only got Kelsey. He doesn't have wide receivers. So that's the pros. So let's talk about the real D. Well, the problem with this whole thing is paying this quarterback $30 million has to stop. Because if he gets hurt, you don't have any other players on your team. You can't afford them. You have a salary cap. You can only – but the problem is it's all going to the quarterback. I mean, if the Lions paid Jared Goff $35 million, they're idiots. It's the only reason the Lions are doing good is Goff's got a low contract. Then they bring in these rookies. Well, this will be a one-year thing for the Lions. What we know about the Lions is they don't sign. They only sign like a Barry Sanders or Kelvin Johnson. The superstar, they sign because they have to, because they won't have fans. Jared Goff's not a superstar. He's not even a star. He's a choke. Where was he against Baltimore? Oh, he didn't show up. Oh, he thought the game was the following week. That's what you pay these guys for, is the Baltimore game. That's what we want. We want him to play big in the Baltimore game. Instead, he shows up big for Green Bay and he shows up big for Carolina or Oakland. We don't need you to show up big for them. We need you to show up big for Baltimore and San Diego and Kansas City, and he doesn't show up big for any of them. So because you're paying the quarterbacks 30, 40 million, look at the Giants, paid Daniel Jones $35 million. You've got to be out of your mind. Why would you pay him $35 million? And now he's injured because he runs and he can't throw. This guy never should have been in the league. And then you make the mistake of paying him $35 million. Your team's fucked for 5 years because he sucks. If he's even back, which is questionable, what are you going to do with him? He's damaged, and now you don't have money. What are you going to do now? Now you'll be the last place. So you get what, Caleb Williams, and you're not going to be able to pay him. And you got your money out with Daniel Jones. And whatever else you have is with Barkley. Another stupid move. So the Giants won't be good for years. Thibodeau, okay. Is he any good? Mm-hmm. How much are you going to have to pay him? You can't tie up all your money in 2 or 3 players. It's football. There's too many injuries in football, right? So the Cincinnati, they got the money in Chase and Burrow. Burrow gets hurt, part of it. Who's the backup quarterback? Not very good. The guy never apparently threw a pass. Well, why is that your backup? And Burrow, I give him credit for playing with the hurt calf, but I don't know. What is it, a broken wrist? I don't know. I don't know what he's got, but it's a shame. I mean, we all like Joe. Fortunately, it's not a bad injury. Like a knee, like Daniel Jones might not come back. Or what was my guy on UCF who hurt his knee terribly and just couldn't make it back? But in a wrist, he should be fine. Like Aaron Rodgers, the Achilles, but he's aiming to come back at the end of the year. We will see. But if you put all this money into your quarterback, you can't sign other players. And now you're not a team. You're a one-man team, and it's football, and it's all injuries. So you're really fucked there. Appreciate your football, my fetch, because I'm starting to pay attention to certain teams and players' strengths and weaknesses. tells a lot of the game's outcome. Well, you must use logic for everything, right? If it's women, if it's a job, if it's going to the casino and playing poker, what are you playing for? Are you playing to win? Are you playing to get the girl? Are you playing poker to win? You betting football to win? What is the object of your game? Once you understand that, then you start dissecting and trying to figure out, how do I win at it? So when you play poker, you're going, what is the guy? I got to understand the guys at the table. He makes a bet. Does he have a good hand or a bad hand? Is he bluffing me or has he got a good hand? I look at my hand. My hand's okay. Can I bluff this guy? If I bet 100, will he go out? If I don't know, I got to try it, maybe, or watch somebody else try it and see what he does. And you're trying to figure out the game. That's where I come up with the game, right? The women play the game. Do they want your money, or do they want you, or do they want your money? Most women want the money. They want the safety. So that's why a lot of the girls will chase money. That's why you see these beautiful girls with all the athletes. They got money, and that's why they go to them. And it's crazy, but that's what happens. So you've got to play the game, and then playing the game means you figure out things. And in football, what are you looking at when if we're betting a football game? What are we looking at? Well, let's take yesterday's game. We're thinking, well, Baltimore can't stop Joe Burrow. They can't stop Cincinnati. That's why I like betting on the good quarterbacks, Mahomes. They can't stop them. There's no way Philly's going to stop Kansas City. Can Kansas City stop Philly? There's a lot more chance of that because they have the 16 defense. So you're trying to figure out when one team has the ball and the other team has the ball, because you'll sit there and watch games where the teams go up and down the field and you're going, shit, I wish I would have bet the over. Well, if you understand that both defenses suck, you would have bet the over. And that's where I come in trying to read the teams. Are they over or under teams? You get an Ohio State and a Michigan that are good offense and good defense. So I don't want to fuck with them unless I have them. Unless it's Ohio State versus Michigan, then I'll take the dog. And I've showed you that with Oklahoma, Texas, and Oregon, Washington. We took the dog. And that's really the key to it. And that's what you look for. If you can understand that, then you can bet the game and make money at it. And why are we here? We're here to make money. We can't make it. We can't make it in this because we know this is. See, this is why this goes hand in hand. This has no value. This isn't worth anything. This is just paper. But you don't realize that either, right? You don't understand that. You think this is worth €5. Okay, I can go buy a cup of coffee with it now, right? So why do we bet? To make money. We don't bet for the entertainment. Some people do that. Some people play poker for the entertainment. They go to the casino and they play slot machines. Why are you playing slot machines? You can't win in it. Well, it's fun. It gets me out of the house. So I lose a couple hundred. Who cares? So you've got to get your goals aligned. Are you with the girl for sex? Or are you with the girl for love? Or are you with the girl for companionship? There's many different reasons you're with the girl or she's with you. But the girls are more or less with you for the security, for the safety. That's what Daria tells me. You make me feel safe with you. She knows she can trust me. Like I said, she told me she went to the clinic and was worried how I'd react. And I said, no problem. So she likes that. Today she's got a flu. So I said, just take a hot tub and take some hot tea and just sleep. And if I was there, I would take care of you. And she likes that. That's what she needs. That's what I need. So you meet the same. Most people should not be getting married. They don't have a fucking clue. They're all controlled. Like I told you, the Irina story, she can't meet me because of her husband. And I'm sitting there shaking my head going, then why'd you get married? So you can only talk to him? What kind of life is that? You're a fucking slave? Well, so most people shouldn't be getting married. They're just getting married to because they think they should, or they have a companion. And then after about 6 months, you're like, oh, why the hell did I get married? What am I've lost my freedom, and there's nothing worse than losing your freedom. So with that said, that's what you're looking for, Real D. You're trying to figure. That's why I say put the score down. You put the score down. So let's put the score down for Philly KC, 24-21 Kansas City. All right, that's what I think the score is. Let me write that down. 24-21. Now, 21 because KC's got a really good defense, and 24 because Philly doesn't, and Mahomes will find you 24. So what do I see? 45 points. I could go over. I could take Philly and the 9, which is probably what I'll do. Or I could take KC and 3.5. Okay. Yesterday I had Cincy 27, Baltimore 20. However, with Burrow playing the whole game, and they were up 10-7. So I probably wasn't too far off had Burrow not gotten hurt. But I'm getting my Kansas quarterback got hurt last Saturday. My Air Force quarterback got hurt last Saturday. Now Burrow gets hurt. It's like, are you kidding me? Why do I keep getting the hurt quarterback? At least let me, if I lose, at least let me have my full team out there at the end, and I just lost. But you've got to be kidding me. So anyway, that's where we're at. Grega sucks. Joe Burrow is out for the season, yeah? You think Brady will come back? No, I don't think he'll come back. I think if he wanted to come back, first of all, he certainly wouldn't go to Cleveland. Secondly, he wouldn't have retired. He would have just played another year at Tampa. Like, unless he just thinks the Tampa coach is so bad, and therefore he would have he didn't want to play for the coach, which could be. I don't know that the Cleveland's. So I could see him going to Denver, but Russell Wilson's there. San Diego, a team with a good defense that could win with some good receivers. So of all the teams, I could see him going to Baltimore would be a better fit, or Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh he'd be good at. A team that needs maybe Tennessee. They got Henry and a good defense. Maybe Oakland he wouldn't be bad at. Dallas he'd be a good fit for. Get rid of Prescott. Jesus. I could see him going to the Jets before I could see him going to – you put him on the Jets, it's a loaded team with a loaded defense, the Green Bay receivers. If he's going anywhere, he'd be going to the Jets over Cleveland. They'd have won the Super Bowl with Brady instead of – because Rodgers got hurt. With that defense – they'd stroll through. Maybe he goes to Minnesota. Kirk Cousins is out for the year. They need a quarterback. They're not going to win with Dobbs. So that's it. So I can see him going to the Jets or Minnesota ahead of Cleveland. They got P.J. Walker at Cleveland from Temple. They had nothing to worry about. But I don't think he wouldn't have left. Once you're out, I don't think you come back. You lose your skill. And I think he stayed until the fire went out. And I don't think he's got the passion for it anymore. That's my guess. I don't know. I don't know him personally or talk to him, but that's how I would do it. As long as you have passion for something, you keep doing it. As long as you can. Like this, I can keep doing this for years because I don't have to play. I can just analyze. So with that said, your free pick here is, who did I give as a free pick? San Francisco, I think. Yeah. San Francisco is your free poll pick. Laying 11.5. I think Tampa, there's two reasons. One, I think the Niners lost 3 in a row. They got the win. Now they're at home. Look for them to go on a roll. Deebo Samuel's back and McCaffrey. Really, it was a fluke. They lost to Cleveland. It was a missed field goal that the guy was 40 yards away. And then they lost to Minnesota. I don't know how that happened. The Cincinnati game, because of Joe Burrow. It's funny. Now if you play Cincinnati, With no Joe Burrow, it's an easy win, but with Joe Burrow, you're going to lose. That's why timing is important. That's for sure. Like now, you might want to play the Jets, but if Rodgers comes back in December, you don't want to play him then. That's for sure. So I think Frisco on a roll. Okay, they lost 3 games. They should have probably lost 2. I don't know if they should have lost them in. I'll give them the loss to Cincinnati. Beating Jacksonville, they're an okay team. I just don't see Mayfield doing a lot, and I think the Niners. When you're a really good team and you lose, and now now we won again. Now, okay, you keep going, you don't stop. So I think they cover the. Let's put a score in here: 37-10. 37-10, the Niners. That's what I think will happen. I don't think Tampa is going to score a lot. And I think the Niners are pissed, and they're still pissed, and they're going to just eat them up with Purdy. And that's what I think. All right, so that's pros. We'll get more into that. Well, today's Friday. Now, we talked a lot college. Well, yeah, we didn't talk much pro yesterday. Let's go through the injuries as long as I am in the pros. I think we looked at this yesterday. So we got Cincy out. Let's see what it says with Burrow. Arizona, I'm not. Kyler Murray's not on the list. I'm fine. Atlanta, I think Heineke's questionable with yeah, they're not even playing, so forget Atlanta. Baltimore's already played. Buffalo. Micah Hyde, questionable. Quarterback, questionable. Another cornerback, Elam, is out. Tight end Knox is out. Milano's out, the linebacker. It's funny, you watch him play, one play, makes the tackle, looks good. Next play, all of a sudden he's lying on the thing, he hurts his knees out. I mean, it's just, that's what happens. Carolina. Steve Young, probable with a thigh. Cures. They're the ones playing Dallas, so they're at home. Yeah, it's Dallas coming. Oh, yeah, my thigh's starting to hurt me. I don't think I can play. Receivers are playing. Let's see. Anybody? A lot of questionables. 3 linebackers are out. 4 linebackers are out. 5 linebackers are out. 6 linebackers. Jesus Christ. They have 6 linebackers out. So they're a little thin defensively, let's say. Wow. A safety and 6 linebackers, a defensive end. I've never seen anything like it. I'm just going through the list. Oh, there's another linebacker. 6 linebackers are out. Wow. Yeah, Dallas should cruise there. The Bears, probable Justin Fields, Jason Fields, whatever. Foreman, the running back's questionable, but he'll play. Well, what does that do just because you got Fields? He's not good. He's going to run. The Lions eat these guys up. So I think the Lions – I don't know why the line went down. I thought it would go to 10 or Fields is playing. Oh, let's bet the Bears because Fields is playing? Really? People are that stupid? They bet the Bears because Fields is playing. Oh, okay. The real D, I agree, Professor Mayfield struggles against good teams. Well, it's more like this is the 49ers going to kick some ass. And it's like Oklahoma. They lost a couple games, good games to good teams, and they Beat the shit out of West Virginia. See, now you get the momentum back. Now they won. Now look at them. Here they go. So look for them to, they'll kill Tampa. Cincinnati. Joe Burrow out for season. It says thumb. So what did he break his thumb or what? I mean, did he hurt his thumb before the game? I heard somebody's thumb in a little cast or wrap walking around off the bottom. I mean, I don't know. It sounded, I haven't seen the play. It sounds like he just threw the ball and that was it. Got a touchdown. Did anybody hit him? Anyway, that's too bad. And we'll look at next week. Cleveland. Bunch of probables, so we don't care. Watson's on the IR. See, here's what I mean. Okay, let's look at Cleveland. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 guys on the IR out. 12 guys on your team are out. You got some receivers, some linebackers, D tackle, a cornerback, a couple more guards, and what? No, it's 13 because Watson's up higher. So you got 13 players out. Well, skipping that training camp or preseason to not get anybody hurt looks like it's working like a charm. Oh my God. And this is just, there's 25 guys on the injured list. How do you bet this shit? You're betting on 4th-team guys. This is the problem. This is why it's so crazy. This is why you go to Burrow and Mahomes and Russell Wilson and Sean Payton and Coach Pete to win the games. You can't. I'm going to trust Jay Willis, the offensive tackle for Cleveland. You got to be kidding. Dallas. Let's see. I'm not going to go through the probables, and then they've got their own 3, 4, 8 guys on IR, 2 receivers, 2 cornerbacks, 2 linebackers. So you're really, I don't know if you're dealing, Diggs and Vander Esch are starters. I don't know about the other guys. They're not, I don't believe, but still, that's 10 guys you can't use. Denver. Let's see. Judy's question with the hip. And excuse me. I just get tired. I get up and then I go swimming and I don't get my downtime. Like from swimming, I should take an hour before I start class, but I don't want to get too late and I want to do it. And maybe I should swim later, but then if I swim late after class, then I'm going to get hungry at 8 o'clock at night, which I don't want to do. So Denver, anybody good? Not really. They're healthy. The Lions, let's see. A lot of probables. I mean, they have so few good players. No, I don't see anything. Hooker, I keep waiting for him to get out there already. But he's still out with the knee. He must have the same doctor as Cam Rising. Green Bay. Aaron Jones, questionable. They play San Diego. Q Walker from Georgia, he's questionable. And that's about it. Was Houston playing? Yeah, Houston's at home to Arizona. I can't name 5 players on Houston's team. Jesus, they got so many players. Let's count how many guys are out for Houston. Holy shit. I mean, they got to have 30 guys on the injured list. Out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 17 guys out on your fucking team. You only got 40-some guys on the team. You got 17 out. 2 centers, guards, tackles. All their linemen are out. Jeez. It's crazy. Indy, I think's off. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence probable with the knee. Now, he's had knee problems. He's been questionable. So now he's going to try playing. Nothing else. Casey, not a probables. So when you're a good team, your players probable play. When you're a bad team, they all go out or questionable or doubtful. Chocolate Eclair, and I bought chocolate eclairs today for chocolate eclair. He's got an illness, so he's fine. San Diego, Keenan Allen probable with the shoulder. That's good. Joey Bosa probable with the hand. There's a few players I know. LA, the Lambs. Howie Long, tight end, probable. Stafford, probable with his thumb. Oakland. I read the names and I have no idea. Peters, I think that's Peter Peters. Cornerback, I think he's the good player. Crosby, defensive end, he's questionable. He'll be playing. Miami. Let's see. Mozart, questionable. Waddle, probable. Akane, probable, the running back. Minnesota. Hall, probable. So is Hall going to be their quarterback, or is whatchamacallit going to be Dobbs? Is it Dobbs or Hall? Let me mark this down. I don't know what they'll go with. Do you go with Hall or do you go with Dobbs? I wouldn't go with either of them. I would trade for Tyler Van Dyke of Miami. Jefferson questionable with a hamstring. Matheson questionable, the running back. Cam Akers is out. And we know Cousins is out. The Giants. Barkley questionable with an ankle. Hyatt questionable with a concussion. Danny DeVito probable with the shoulder. Finally gets in. He hurts his shoulder. Tyrod Taylor out with ribs. Jones out with a knee on the IR. The NY Jets, JETSs. So this is what I mean. There's so many guys. I mean, there's 25, 30 guys you got to go through. Then try to figure out if anybody's any good. And if they're probable or questionable, I'm not even caring. Yeah, that's about it. All right, New England. Is New England playing? I don't think they are. They're so bad. Yeah, Belichick, he knows how to coach. He's the greatest coach that ever played. They're going to win what, 1 game this year? New Orleans, I think they're off. Yeah, they're off. Philly, how are they against Kansas City? Jalen Hurts probable with the knee. Kobe Dean, my Georgia guy, out with the foot. He's had a bad foot all year. Steelers are pretty healthy. Couple guys out and we never heard of. The Niners. I think they have most of their key players back. Seattle, let's see how their wide receivers are. Lockett, questionable with the hamstring. He's had that all day. McIntosh, questionable with the knee. I wonder if he played last week. Tampa Bay, Mike Evans, probable. Mayfield, probable with a thumb. He got lucky. His thumb is probable. Burrow's is broken. Tennessee, Tannehill, probable with an ankle. I would think he's going to start over Levis in a game against Jacksonville. It's a big game for him. Will Levis is probable with the foot. Okay, so they're both probable. And last but not least, Washington, but I don't think they even play. They play the Giants. Such a bad team. There's so many bad players on the bad team. All right. That's the problem with the injuries. Every team, it's 20, 25 players, and you're trying to read, I don't know almost any of the players. All right, I need time out. I got to get some more water. I think I'll put a coffee on. Give me 2 minutes. That was my first time out. I'm making coffee, so I'll come back in a minute when it cooks. I mean, in my opinion, the best coach clearly was Vince Lombardi, and then I think Bill Walsh would have been second. Although Paul Brown was a very good coach, but it was in the 50s when I wasn't alive. We got 2 games tonight. UTSA 15.5, down from 16.5 and 66. And Washington State 4.5 and 60. This has gone down from 62. Washington State playing the prime times of Colorado. I think they'll both be high-scoring games. Not a lot of defense. South Florida is very explosive. A big over team. We know Colorado is a good over team. I'm curious about, is there weather causing this? So let's quickly check the Colorado. Well, the line didn't move, just the total. So it can't be an injury or the line would have moved. So maybe there's weather in Washington State. Who knows? But this is certainly an over game, not an under game. All right. So that's tonight. Let's get into tomorrow. Coastal Carolina 3.5, 42.5. Down from 3.5. Their backup's supposed to be playing. Whatchamacallit, the start of McCall, he's out. Army, you don't know what you're getting there. Indiana 3.5, 47.5 to Michigan State, down from 4.5. Michigan State's the Z team. Michigan 19.5, 49.5 to Maryland. I don't know. Michigan might be a tiny bit flat from the Penn State win. That was an emotional win. Hard to say. Maryland put up some points on Ohio State for a while, and then Ohio State went after them. I think Michigan's got a little better offense than Ohio State at certain points. Ohio State's getting better. Defenses are even. Not really sure what to do. Maryland's not a bad team. They're not good, but they're not like Nebraska or Rutgers or things. It's like Michigan, Ohio State, then it's like Penn State, maybe Wisconsin normally. And then you've got your Iowas, and then Maryland's in that group, and then you've got your Rutgers maybe, and then you got down at the bottom Michigan State, Northwestern, Illinois, Indiana. I don't know why the Big Ten is so bad this year. I mean, there's 2 good teams and Penn State, so maybe 3 good teams. Louisville, Miami. Louisville 1.5, 46.5. I don't know. Louisville on the road. Miami had a big game, but they lost to Florida State. They didn't play Van Dyke till the end. I'm sure he's pissed. I'm not really sure what to make of Miami. It's a mess right now. See, that leads to uncertainty. That's not what we want to do when we're betting. All right, just a second. Get some coffee to wake me up. All right. College tonight. You got prime time. Not pro. They haven't made pros Friday night yet. Penn State, Rutgers. Penn State 20.5, 40.5. So this went down from 42. Tulane 9.5, 47.5 to Florida Atlantic. Tulane has not looked good the last few games. Barely beat Tulsa. It's probably some injuries to linemen or something. They're not giving the guy enough time. The Navy 2.5, 30.5 to East Carolina. I don't know. It's not a banner year for Army and Navy. So it's hard to really play them like I usually like to. Purdue 2.5, 48.5 over Northwestern. It's funny watching these little line changes. So yesterday, Purdue was 3.5. Now it's back to 2.5. Like people are running to bet on Northwestern, really? You can see the game being played. People not knowing what they're doing, and they're running a model, or these idiots on BetMGM, and they'll say, oh, I like, East Carolina, and people will bet it because these idiots are saying it. That's why you have to choose your own, but you have to learn how to choose your own, and that's what we're trying to do. Old Mississippi State, 14.5, 46.5 to Southern Miss. The quarterback's supposed to be playing, finally, Will Rogers. He's a very good quarterback. He's been out for a month, so a lot of their stuff's skewed. But if he's back and playing well, they'll kill Southern Miss. Southern Miss is a W team, but so is Mississippi State with the backup quarterback. Oklahoma, 24.5, 57.5. To BYU. BYU's been playing terribly. They got blown out the last 4 weeks. Let's make it the last 5 weeks. Old Miss, 37.5, 62.5 to Louisiana Monroe. Louisiana Monroe's the Z team. Ole Miss is an over team, scores 40-some a game, gives up 26. Oh, but UL Monroe's a Z team, gives up 33. This could be one of the few times I actually lay the 31. I don't like to, but first of all, it's not a conference game. It's a Z team. So I think Ole Miss definitely lights up Lou Monroe because it's a win for Ole Miss. They got to get the win. SMU 8.5, 64.5. To Memphis, okay team, not as good as they usually are. An over team, give up 29. But SMU's playing very strong. They're an A team. They're an A team, and they're only giving up 16. They remind me of Kansas City Chiefs. Good offense, but they're playing really good defense. Memphis scares me a little. They're a pretty good offensive team. They're at home. Probably not the right spot to go with SMU, but I do like them here. Alabama 45 over Chattanooga. Why is Alabama playing Chattanooga? I don't really get it. I mean, I know Bobby likes to shake my head, but I'm going to scratch my head on this one. What in the world? What in the world are you doing? Well, the free pick is Troy, Greg John. Troy in San Francisco. Your free picks. Just for attending my class, you get free picks. Liberty 27.5, 63 to UMass. And again, UMass is a W team with 37 defense. Not very good. Liberty is a very explosive team. Pretty good defense. They should kill them here. But again, you got to lay 27.5, so you want to lay 21. James Madison, 9.5, 56.5. To App State. Good game, though. App State, very explosive team. James Madison, very strong quarterback. They're an 18 defense. Very good game here. Ball State and Kent. Ball State 12.5, 41.5. Z versus Z. What do you do with this? Kent's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Probably the worst team in country. Ball State not much better. Kent's Z with a 34 defense. Ball State's a Z with a 27 defense. So I don't know what you can do with it. Not much. All right. Rice and Charlotte. Rice 2.5, 46.5. This we're waiting on the quarterback. So let's venture into the injury land to see if Rice is there. So if Rice's quarterback's playing, I like him over Charlotte because they're a W team. And Rice is playing very well. Air Force's quarterback, because it comes up first, is questionable. That's another bet that I want to make, but I want that I keep losing my quarterbacks on. My Rice. Holy shit. Rice, Daniels, quarterback, concussion, questionable. So I still don't know. While I'm here, I want to check a few teams. Not a lot of updates. Questionables are still questionables. Missouri's quarterback Cook is probable with an undisclosed. I don't recall him being on the list 2 days ago. I think they're monkeying around. You look at it Wednesday or Thursday, you make your bet, and then it's Friday, and all of a sudden he's probable. You're like, well, he wasn't there before. Old Miss, Dart, probable. So that goes with, if I take Old Miss against Lou Monroe, I want Dart to be quarterbacking. Let's go. I want to check Kansas State out. I'm noticing too, I'll see wide receivers, like 4 wide receivers out on a lot of teams. So I know they're not all the same skill set, and that's what you got to worry about. LSU, 2 running backs out, but their quarterback's more or less their running back. Liberty, they're 2 wide receivers out and a running back. Kentucky, Kent. Kansas State, they're pretty healthy. Kansas, my boys, Bean, probable with the head, so that's good. 2 wide receivers are questionable. Okay. So as long as Bean can make it through the game, I like the Kansas play, but we'll see. James Madison, healthy. Iowa, just beat up. Oak State, Houston, no receivers out. Georgia's pretty healthy. Let's see, a linebacker out and a wide receiver. They don't even list the tight end out. Maybe he's playing again. Georgia, Mikey Keene, questionable. I'll get back to the lines in a minute. Jeez, Florida, so many injured. And I wonder if it's the coach, because I wonder if these injuries are really like hamstring. Do you really know it's a hamstring? I can say my hamstring hurts. It doesn't, but you can't. It's not a broken thing you can x-ray. Colorado's pretty healthy tonight. BYU Slovis is still questionable with an arm. I'm anxious because I want to bet Oklahoma. Boise, now their quarterback Madsen is out for the year. which is good. See, I was going to bet Boise against Utah State. So I got to check that line. If it's still 3.5, I might have to take Utah State there. See, this is where the injuries come in. If the team's healthy, they're going to play A. If the team's not healthy, they're going to play like B. So you got to know that. And the Air Force, I don't know. Okay. Back to the lines. All right, so Rice 2.5. We don't know about the quarterback, 47.5. So there's nothing we can do now. We don't want to bet Rice if their quarterback might not play. Now, are we interested in Charlotte if the quarterback doesn't play? I don't know. I don't think so because Charlotte's a W team and Rice is an over team. So I like Rice getting 3.5, but then the quarterback's out, so I don't like it as much. And then still probably don't like Charlotte. Hawaii, Wyoming. Wyoming 13.5, 45.5. Hasn't moved against Hawaii. Wyoming's not, they're more of an under team. Hawaii, I don't know who they are. They beat Air Force last week because the quarterback got hurt. They're a different team at home than on the road because it's a 6-hour flight, I think, from Hawaii to most of their Wyoming or the West Coast. UTEP, Middle Tennessee State. Middle Tennessee State, 7.5, 47.5. Against UTEP. Yeah, good luck with that one. Jacksonville State, 8.5, 54 to L-Tech. L-Tech's really an over team, which I'm sure nobody knew. They do score in the 30s and give up in the 30s. Jacksonville State's a B team with the 20 defense. It's probably a good Jacksonville State 8.5 down to 2.5. Probably could see that, but can you trust Jacksonville State? I don't know. Cincinnati, West Virginia. West Virginia 6.5, 54.5. My spider senses are tingling all over this game. As soon as I can find it. Ah, there it is. Cincinnati has not been playing well. West Virginia is much better at home. They got killed by Oklahoma, but we didn't care. We had the game over last week, and we got the win. So look for them to come back pretty strong. I got a feeling they're going to win the game, but I'm not sure. I got to read it. Just because Cincinnati, I'm not sure of. I don't know how bad they are. West Virginia at home plays very well. Utah, 1.5, 45.5. Arizona, 1.5, 45.5. What's going on, Batman? They've switched it. My Utah is now a dog. And 45.5. Back to the injury list. I don't think I looked at Utah. So is there something going on here? Arizona, very healthy. The two Utes. Yeah. Oh. I mean, nothing's really changed for Utah. I'm not aware that Arizona got a guy back that I was worried about. A horse of a different color. Anna went to 45.5. Almost as if Arizona got a player back, but I don't see anybody hurt. Interesting. Now I'm thinking of Utah as a road dog. Utah as a dog is probably a pretty good play here. Arizona, I think it's still possibly an under game with this Utah defense. And Arizona's got a good defense. Yeah, this could be an underplay. I don't get why Utah would go to 1.5 and now Arizona's 1.5. What would make you jump on that way? I didn't love Arizona as a home dog enough to now play them as a home favorite. To Utah? No thanks. Duke 3.5, 45.5. Against Virginia. Duke. Riley Leonard's out. Their backup is playing. 45.5. Interesting. Virginia's pretty bad. Weak defense. Duke has the strong defense, so you don't know what to do with the game because good defense against bad defense. Colorado State 12.5, 46.5. Up from 11.5 against Nevada, who's the Z team, who once in a while plays good and once in a while doesn't. Colorado State's been playing bad. I don't like their quarterback. I don't trust them here to blow out Nevada, and I don't know what I'm getting from Nevada, so I don't like. That's why I like when they're both over teams. Just bet the game over. Just score points, fellas, or go under. Don't score points, fellas. To pick this game, I don't know because I don't know what I'm getting from Nevada. Are they going to score? They're not going to score. Colorado State don't like their quarterback. They got 12.5. Can I take 18.5 in Nevada? I don't know. That's my thought, but there's a lot of uncertainty in this to bet this. Although the way it's going, what's the difference? I lost with Joe Burrow last night. North Texas 2.5, 69.5. Wow, this is 66.5. So it's gone up to 69.5. Wow. Against Tulsa. Tulsa's not a high-scoring team. North Texas is. I'm not quite sure why the Tulsa. Well, let's look at the last game. Let's see if there was a quarterback change. They lost to Tulane 24-22. They lost to Charlotte 33-26. Let's go to the Tulane game. Tulsa, Francis, 22 of 34, 345, and 1 touchdown. And not really running. Tulane, Pratt, 16 of 29, 194, a touch and an interception. They ran the ball. Let's go into the Charlotte game. Tulsa. Braxton Williams and Francis, they all sucked. So Charlotte, it went to overtime, so it was 26 all. So it was a low-scoring game. Tulsa doesn't give you, Watkins ran. So maybe Tulsa runs a little bit. I don't see why it would go to 69 would be a good over. I could see them running the ball against this 38 defense. And Tulsa, I don't think lights it up. They don't show me this explosive offense. And they're really a W. They're a 20 offense, Tulsa. Let's take a little deeper dive. Yeah, 10 points on SMU, 10 points on Rice, 17 on Florida Atlantic. So the last 5 games, they got to 26 once. This has got to be an under game, actually. To tell you the truth, I don't know who in their right mind would be betting this game over. I don't see the over in the game. I see a team that struggles to get 20. They put up 48 on Temple. Well, North Texas, not a good team, but they score 40 on UTSA, 40 on Memphis, 28 on Tulane. So they're losing to good teams. Tulane, Memphis, UTSA, and SMU are really good teams, but they're scoring points on them. 45 on Temple. They lost to the Navy. So this is perplexing. They'll score. See, this is where I kind of like North Texas here because Tulsa doesn't score, but their defense sucks. And North Texas is playing good teams and scoring, but losing. So they put up 30 points on SMU. They lose, but they're playing SMU. So this is where you have to dive in a little bit. On the surface, North Texas, explosive, weak defense. Tulsa's a W team with a weak defense. So on the surface, you go, oh, okay, North Texas should outscore them. The defense are both suck, but North Texas has a better quarterback and a better offense. And then you dive into them more and you go, well, fuck, they played SMU, Memphis. They're playing really good teams. Tulsa's not. Tulsa's playing shit teams. And so that makes the records understandable, but then it makes, God, North Texas is lighting up SMU and Memphis and other, good teams in the conference. And Tulsa's not playing any of them, and they're not scoring. So on a deep dive, this play would be North Texas getting 3.5 because this is like my Troy play. Because they're playing very well, that's why I like them. UAB 7.5, 62.5, 62 to Temple. Temple we know sucks. UAB is up and down. Two terrible defenses, a 37 and a 35. I think this game goes over because of UAB is just an over team. They're going to score. They might get you over by themselves. Temple, they'll give up 45, and what will they score? So this is almost a better over than like these, Oregon, Washington overs, because sometimes Oregon says you can't score, like against Colorado. An easy over, but then they hold Colorado. You don't have that defensive problem here. Temple is not going to shut them down, and UAB is not going to shut Temple down. And so then you get into where this should be a higher scoring game. Let's look at Temple. Just for the hell of it. Against Southern Florida, they lost 23-27. They put up 32 on the Navy. They got shut out by SMU, 14 on North Texas, 34 on UTSA, which was good. And Tulsa, 26. So, and they beat Akron 24-20. So they're a pretty bad team. The SMU, see, that's what I'm saying. SMU's got a really strong defense this year. North Texas 14, which makes me want to bet North Texas more. So Temple can put up some points, but South Florida is not really good. So I don't know. UAB is probably not that strong. I can see this going over. Maybe you take UAB -1 if you can trust them. Hard to trust the 37 defense. So don't want to go there. Texas State 3.5, 59.5. Again, Texas State's the over team. Arkansas State's a W. The quarterback, I think, is playing. And a 30 defense and a 29 defense. Over under 59. So this could go over. I don't know. Does Arkansas State play? Again, you got two bad defenses, which should get you over. But how strong is Arkansas State? So I think I checked Rayner to see what kind of quarterback he is, right? What's his touchdowns and everything. Georgia, Tennessee. My Georgia team. Always a pleasure. 10.5, 58.5. I'm so tempted to play this game under because it's such a high number. The problem is Georgia's just so explosive. Tennessee's a home dog. They got killed by Missouri last week. They got killed at Florida. Alabama played Alabama pretty good. But I have no inclination in my life to play Tennessee in 16.5 here. So it's either Georgia 4.5, maybe under 64. I'm not really sure yet. NC State VTech 2.5, 42.5. Down from, so this is a low scoring game, bet from 44 to 42. Clemson, North Carolina. Clemson is 7.5, 59.5, up from 6.5 and 58. North Carolina is an over team with the 26. Clemson is a B team. Who the hell knows what you're getting with Clemson? They lost to Florida State and Duke, two pretty good teams. They beat Notre Dame, who's got a great defense and terrible coaching. So really hard to say. At home, North Carolina could beat them. Clemson could beat them, could win by a field goal. I'm just lost with them. Giving up Oogly Boogly did not help them. Hey, Alex. Baltimore, when Burrow went out, right when I saw him wince after the last throw on the field, got Baltimore -1. Okay. So if he doesn't get hurt, do you win anything on the live betting? So when he winced, I didn't watch the game. I don't waste time on Prime or whatever. So what exactly happened? Cincinnati was winning when he got hurt. Didn't he just throw the pass to mix him? They were up 10-7. Then he's wincing, and you take advantage of that, and you bet Baltimore -1, even though they're losing by 3. And then Burrow was out, and then what? Baltimore went to a 20-point favorite, I would assume. So he throws a touchdown, is out. You're a doctor, so you know he can't go on. Did anybody hit it? I mean, what did he break his wrist just throwing the ball, or was it already broken? Seems weird. So he was playing fine the pass before, and this pass, and did he hit a helmet, or he just the play before he's throwing it, he's fine. This play, he throws it, doesn't get hit. He breaks his wrist throwing the ball. Seems really weird. Somebody said before the game they thought he had a cast on or something on his wrist. I don't know. All hearsay to me, but good for you. Well, yeah, you could read that, but so was it just that pass? The pass before, was he fine? And he broke his wrist throwing a 4-yard pass? Well, that's what we are. We're all gambling, but no, I get that he was. I mean, you can tell an injury. I'm surprised that they didn't see that also and freeze it and wait, and then he takes himself out. So you had Baltimore -1. So explain the bet to me. What'd you bet on it? What were you? Is there odds? I mean, what are you playing? 11-10? You're playing it straight. You got Baltimore -1. Bet 100 to win 100, or is it 120 to win 100, or what's going on in there? I don't know. You had Cincinnati +4 going into the game. See, I teased it. I had Cincinnati in 9.5. If Burrow plays, I win. They're up 10-7. So you can see the difference of the injury. So what are your odds? Is it 110? Is it 120? You bet 110 to win 100, 120. On your bet, would it be 110 to win 100 or 120 to win 100? All right, Iowa 31.5. Let's get back to reality. Iowa 31.5, down from 3.5. up from people are betting the over in this game. Interesting. I can't imagine why anybody would be that stupid to bet an Iowa game over. I guess the straight money at 30. I would not tease 25 and over. I would go under 37, I think. Illinois is not going to score in this game. Are you kidding me? Interesting game here. USC 5.5, 63.5. Down from 6.5 and down from 65. I do like the under more than I like the over with UCLA's defense. 5.5. UCLA's got a very tough defense. They got the Twins up the middle. Caleb Williams is going to be running for his life the whole game. If you think they're putting up 40 points in this game, you're out of your mind. But UCLA's got quarterback problems. Let's take a look at UCLA. Well, that's good. I was in the U's. UCLA, Gerber's their quarterback's probable. He's not very good anyway. Schlee, the other quarterback's questionable. And Moore, the freshman, is questionable. So you got three quarterbacks. I think Moore was the freshman. He got concussed, and now he's got a head. Schlee from Kent State played last game, and he sucked. And Garbers is, I don't think, very good. So you got – it looks like Garbers will get the start. That doesn't excite me to bet UCLA, I'll tell you that. This is their problem. They got a beautiful defense. This is, to me, I thought it was an under the whole way at 65. I don't know what they're thinking. UCLA in a 65 game would be like Georgia in a 65 game. It ain't happening. 16 defense, UCLA, nice offense. He's not going to have time to throw the ball. This is going to be low scoring, I think. Will he find a way? Will USC win is the question. We've seen them against tough teams. They played Arizona 28-all. They did score in Utah 5. In Oregon, they didn't show – well, they put up 29 on Oregon. So I think USC puts up in the 20s here. UCLA, the question, what are they? But USC's defense is so bad. That's the problem with USC. Their defense couldn't stop a good high school team. They're not going to, UCLA, they'll just run the ball down their throat. They're going to run the ball down their throat and put the Twins on them. I mean, to me, this is the USC-Utah game all over again. Weak quarterback play, strong running, strong defense. I think that was like 33-34, something like that. Let's go to that game. Let's see what happened in the USC-Utah game. That's how I'll make my bet. USC-Utah. They lose to Oregon, very strong defense, 36-27. Against Washington, they put up 42. Against Utah, they lose 34-32. Against Notre Dame, they lose 48-20. There's a whole lot of losses there. Against Arizona, it was 28-28 at the end of the regulation. So the only times they don't score 40 is Utah 32, Notre Dame 20, Oregon 27. 3 very good defenses. Arizona 28, and you got UCLA, who's just as good as any of those. Just as good as Utah. I mean, they got a 16 defense, man, and they really let's look at UCLA. Let's see their big games. They beat Colorado 28-16, Stanford 42-7, Oregon State got them 36-24. They beat Washington State 25-17, Utah 14-7. Ain't nobody scoring on this team. Oregon State got 36. Colorado 16. Man, but they haven't really played that. I guess Colorado is the strongest offense. Arizona is not. Arizona State's not. Stanford's not. Washington State, they beat 25-17. So I think UCLA is going to maybe get, well, I guess we look at it like the Colorado game, 28-16, but they fumbled twice at the 5-yard line, UCLA. So I can't play it over. That was a 60 over-under against Colorado. So 28-16 is about what you got here. I think USC will score in the 30s. That's what they did against Oregon. They got 27. So UCLA's defense is just every bit as good as Utah's. That was a 30. That was a 60. I think this is an under, and I'm really torn. I think you got to go with USC. It's not at home because it's in the Rose Bowl, I think, or the college, whatever they play it doesn't matter. It's neutral. 5.5. It's hard to play a favorite who gives up 35 points a game. UCLA's defense. I think UCLA might be the play if the quarterback's any good. Otherwise, it's gonna be a low-scoring game, I think. My boys, Troy, 16.5, 46.5. None of the sharps are with me here, which makes me feel good. Lou Lafayette's an over team. Their quarterback's out. They're on their third or fourth quarterback. Troy is just outstanding. A B team with a 16 defense. Lou Lafayette with a 29 defense. Troy's been rolling teams and just shutting them down. Free pick, take Troy, lay the 10.5. Not a problem. TCU Baylor, TCU 13.5, 60.5. Where are they, boys? TCU. See, they're on the other side. TCU 13.5, 16.5. So the line's gone from 12.5 to 13.5, 58 to 60. TCU's been playing bad. The quarterback's out. The new guy's not as good. 25 defense. Baylor's been terrible. Even though they got Shapen back, they're not scoring. They got a 32 defense. TCU played Texas pretty well last week, 29-26. So I'm kind of leaning. I think it's too much of a number to lay 7.5 to Baylor, but I do like TCU. Is there an over 60? Maybe if Baylor wakes up. I don't know. Shapen's not been looking good. Western Kentucky, 12.5, 53.5 to Sam Houston. There it is. 12.5, 53.5. That number hasn't moved. Western Kentucky's an over team, 28 defense. Sam Houston's a W. They don't score a lot, 26 defense. I think Western Kentucky covers here. Notre Dame, Wake Forest, Jesus Christ. Notre Dame, 24.5, 46.5 to Wake. Wake's an under team. Gives up 25. Notre Dame, I question they're an A team that gives up 17. What the fuck are they doing to Hartman here? This is ridiculous. I mean, they don't know how to score. Let's look at Wake first. Wake against good defensive teams. Lost 26-6 to NC State, 24-21 to Duke, 41-16 to Florida State. They beat Pitt. They lost to VTech, Clemson 17-12. So they're playing a lot of low-scoring games. Let's go to ND, who's not here. Well, we know ND. We see them every week. They're at home. It's probably an under. The under is what, 46.5? I think you go under 52.5 here. Notre Dame, good defense. They don't know how to the offensive coordinator doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't understand he's got Hartman. Too much running, too much bad passing, too many interceptions for Hartman. This is a horrible offense for him. And, well, this is the team he used to play, Wake. So how's that going to affect whom? Is Wake pissed he left, or is he going to be piling it on Wake, or is he not going to pile it on Wake? I think it's an under game. I think Wake doesn't score much. And with Notre Dame's defense, 52. Yeah, I can see going under 52 here. They're not what they appear to be. So you saw Baltimore -1 at 110. You bet 330 to win 300. What was your Cincinnati bet? I did talk about it. That was the first thing I talked about, but we can revisit. So what was your bet on Cincinnati plus the 4? So did you make any money? Did you break even? See, that's the weird part. If he doesn't get hurt, you win the Cincy plus 4 easy. They were going to win the game. He gets hurt now, So you're lucky in one sense. You're able to kind of trap the game. So Baltimore wins by 3. You win both ends of it. It's kind of a weird trap, though. It's only 5 points. And it's interesting. Do you think it was Baltimore -1 because Cincinnati had the lead or because they thought that Burrow was out? If they thought Burrow was out, I would have thought you'd have had Baltimore -7 or 8. It's weird, though, if Cincinnati takes a 10-7 lead, why they're not favored by 3. So we can go back to tonight. UTSA 15.5, 66 to South Florida. Yeah, I mean, South Florida's an over team with the 36 defense. Frank Harris on UTSA. Give it up 24. Yeah, there's probably an over. They've been playing good ball, UTSA, since Frank Harris came back. I like the over in the Colorado-Washington State game. They're both over. They both give up 34 and 30. I don't know. Is there weather going on in Washington? The spread didn't move, but the over-under went from 62 to 60, which is really strange. Why this would go under is it's impossible with these defenses. Now, again, that's how many people are in our elite class to understand all this with the defenses. So most people, what would make you go under in the game? Prime time with no defense. You got a high school defense and a pro offense against Washington State with a strong offense and a 30 defense. So I don't get it. Should be high scoring. That's how I took it. So that's tonight's games there, Alex. Air Force 3, 47.5. I like UNLV if the Air Force quarterback is out. I don't know that he's out. It says he's questionable with whatever he got hurt with last week. So I hate to bet Vegas, and then he plays, and then they crush UNLV. UNLV's a very good team, though. I am very comfortable with them getting 9.5, especially if the quarterback's out. If the quarterback plays, am I as comfortable with Vegas? And I am, because Vegas is a very good team. So I could be it could be a good play anyway. Air Force is the A team. They did lose to Hawaii. This quarterback got hurt. 3 quarterback injuries in this week. It's unfucking believable. I got to hope that Bean on Kansas is okay. It says he's probable with the head, but he looked like he was in a daze. When he just slid down. He didn't. It wasn't even. It's like Burrow. Burrow threw the pass and broke his thumb. Bean just he dove. I think he slid for the first down, and next thing you knew, he was seeing stars. So I'm hoping that. Ohio State 27.5, 49.5. I definitely like Ohio State here. I don't think Minnesota they're not very good. They're an E team that gives up 25. Their defense is not what it is. A lot of injuries. The quarterback sucks. Ohio State, I don't know. They're really ranked number 1. Okay, you play Ohio State against the Minnesota Vikings. I'll take Minnesota. You take Georgia against the Minnesota Vikings, I'll give you Minnesota in 10. I don't know how Ohio State is number one, but they need to keep winning, obviously. That's the beauty of college. They have to win, and they have to win. If they win 10-7, they're not number one anymore, even though they won the game. They have to win this game by 30 points to keep number one. Because we know Georgia, they're gonna beat Tennessee. Michigan's gonna bury Maryland. Florida State, I think they're off. Oregon's going to kill somebody. They got Arizona State. I'd be more worried if Oregon was playing Arizona than Arizona State, because Arizona State's good defense. I get worried with the defense. Arizona State doesn't have a good defense, and the way Oregon's defense is. So look for them to win. But anyway, I just don't think Minnesota is very good, and their defense is a 25. I like Ohio State. 21's a big number. I can't get too excited about it. Speak of the devil, Oregon, 24.5, 53.5. I just said Oregon, I like strong defense, 17 defense. They score a ton of points. In the desert, it's a little bit challenging against Arizona State. Plays they got three quarterbacks all injured. I don't even know what to do with them. 27 defense. I think Bo Nix eats them up. I mean, again, they got to win by 17. So are they going to win by 28 is your question. I think they'll struggle a little bit, but I think they'll pull it out. Oak State, revenge time, 6.5, 58.5. To Houston. I see some wide receivers out for Houston. Don't love their quarterback. Don't understand it. They beat Oklahoma, Kansas State, West Virginia, running the ball with their man. And let's look at the stat line for my man, Ali. Best running back in the country. And they gave him Bowman 19 of 36 with 3 interceptions. So you want to know why you lose, that's why you lose. Ollie Gordon got 12 rushes for 25 yards. That's why you lose. Why is this guy getting 12 rushes? This guy should be getting 20 rushes. And then you got a quarterback throwing 3 interceptions. This is why you lose. UCF, Plumlee, 11 of 18, 11 completions for 299 yards and 3 touchdowns. So what the fuck is wrong with that pitcher? And he ran 14 for 74, and then Harvey ran 24 for 206. So maybe it's UCF's running back I should pay attention to. Who do they play? They got Texas Tech. Maybe I need to load up on UCF like I loaded up on Oak State. That's how you get these high-scoring games, is this 3 interceptions. He threw for 19 of 36 for 225. So I said before that I didn't like Bowman that much. Somebody gave me a hard time saying, oh, no, he's really good. Yeah, okay. Now, in the defense, he did look good against Oklahoma. Let's see. Let's look at the Oklahoma game. And Bowman was 28 of 42 for 334 with no touches and no interceptions. And Ollie Gordon was 33 rushes for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. So you can see, you give him the ball 33 times, he gets 137 yards against Oklahoma. And you give him the ball 12 times against UCF because your quarterback throws 3 picks. Okay, now we enter. We know what we got. Now we got to enter Houston. Houston has a 30 defense. UCF has a 27 defense. It's not like they had a strong defense to really shut them. Houston just lost to Cincinnati. They beat Baylor Kansas State beat them 41-0. Texas 31-24. So they seem to get up for Texas, flat for Kansas State, then beat Baylor, Cincinnati. Let's look at Cincinnati last week. Emory Jones, 13 of 16, 131 yards. Touch. He ran 10 times for 9. Kiner ran 23 for 129. Houston, Donovan Smith, 16 of 28, 102 yards against Cincinnati. Now, Cincinnati does have a pretty good defense. 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Then he runs 13 times for 88 yards. So you got this running quarterback you got to worry about. Let's go to the other game. Let's go to the Baylor game. Smith, 21 of 27, 236 yards, 2 touches, 2 picks. Runs 20 times for 66 yards. I hate these because then nobody else runs. Perkins, 6 for 29. So you basically have your quarterback doing everything. They win the game. They win the game in overtime. Yeah, I remember this. I had it over 17-17. I'm like, where's Baylor? Baylor, Chapin, 29 of 37, 263 yards, 2 touches and a pick. Baylor doesn't have running. Okay, so that's Baylor's problem. They don't have running, and Chapin's 29 of 37 for 263, so he's not throwing the ball down the field. So Houston wins on the 2-point conversion in overtime. They only scored 17 on Baylor, and Baylor's got, what has Baylor got? Where is Baylor? Baylor gives up 32. So Houston only could get 17 on a 32 defense. So doing cross multiplication here. So I would prefer Oak State to be the dog, but I think Oak State should handle Houston, although you got the running quarterback in Plumlee who lit them up last week. So I'm not really that confident in Oak State. Again, it's Will Bowman throw 3 interceptions. And then on the other hand, UCF, they play Texas Tech. We'll get to in a minute. So I don't know. Oklahoma State, are they going to keep it clean? They should handle Houston. Do I go over? Not really. Houston couldn't get over with Baylor. Houston doesn't score much, gives up 30. Oak State scores mid-20s. This is not a high-scoring game, but it probably will be if Ollie gets going. So if Ollie gets going, Oak State wins easy. If you give him the ball and you don't throw 3 picks. This is bad coaching. You've got to know you've got Jim Brown in the backfield. Stop fucking around, give him the ball, and stop having your quarterback throw 3 picks. The only way you can lose is he throws the picks. Otherwise, you just run your running back 25 times, and you're going to get 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. So what the fuck are you doing? New Mexico State, Auburn, 25.5, 48.5. 25 up from 23. The money's pouring in on Auburn. Don't know why. New Mexico State, Pavia is questionable. I just checked that when I looked at the injuries. So we got to see. If Pavia plays, we could go over in the game, 48, go over 42. If he doesn't play, maybe it's an Auburn play. So maybe they don't think he's playing and the line went up. Maybe. Texas Tech, 2.5. 59.5 over UCF, who just put up 100 points on Oklahoma State, who's playing very well. They got the turnovers. So we have to go into Texas Tech because that's the only team we didn't go into. They beat Kansas 16-13. Bean gets hurt, but still they only scored 16. They beat TCU 35-28. They beat a weak BYU team 27-14. Kansas State gets them 38-21. They beat Baylor, who's playing terrible. They beat Houston, who's playing terrible. So this is UCF, a explosive, high-scoring team that gives up 27. So So they beat Texas Tech, who's struggling. Hard to say. West Virginia beats them 2013. They lose to Oregon 38-30, which was good. Beat Baylor, lose to Kansas State. Where's Oklahoma and Texas? How are they avoiding those guys? And even Oak State. Boy, they got an easy schedule, Texas Tech. They get lucky in Kansas. Bean gets hurt. TCU they beat. They lose to BYU. How do they lose to BYU? This is definitely a riddle. Let's go into the Kansas game just to get Morton, 19 of 25, 176 yards and a pick. Brooks ran 33 times for 133 yards. In Kansas, Bean was 1 of 4. Then Ballard comes in 9 of 20. Jesus Christ. Neal did run 19 for 137. So that's what I like about Kansas. They're nice and balanced. Texas Tech. I think UCF an 8.5 here. I'm not sure about the over because they didn't score a lot on Kansas and they didn't score a lot in their other games. I think UCF an 8.5. And again, I don't want to play chase the rabbit. So UCF kills Oak State. Now goes to Texas Tech. Oh, they're going to do the same thing, and they don't. And that's where you got to be careful. If you see what happens last week and you go, oh, okay, this is, UCF's gonna light up Texas Tech. They lit up Oak State. Well, they got 3 turnovers and got the lead. That's why they did it. What are they going to do? Now, Texas Tech does not score that much. I don't see them. They've been winning against the weaker teams in the division. Let's see them against Texas and Oklahoma. But we'll see. I think this could be a UCF play. Do I have them listed? Yeah, I got them listed. Okay. Marshall, South Alabama, 10.5, 47.5. This number is going down. It was 51, 49, now 47. Marshall, Ali, very good running back. South Alabama, looks like their quarterback's playing 10.5. They got a good defense, give up 21. I don't know. I hate laying 4.5. Marshall's pretty bad, though. They can maybe beat them. Georgia Southern, Old D. 5.5, 61.5, down from 7. Georgia Southern, 5.5, 61. Georgia Southern's an over team, gives up 28. Old D's an E team, gives up 27. So this should be fairly high scoring. 61. So you can see it was 60. So they are betting it over. But they are betting Old D. Probably an over just because the defenses are fairly weak. Cal and Stanford. Cal, 6.5, 55.5. Question is Stanford's quarterback playing? He's questionable. Cal, we know, is an over team. Both teams have 37 defenses. This should be a 100-point game. It's 55. I'm like, really? Okay, thank you. Well, let's see. We probably don't have the injury to Stanford. TCU, a couple of receivers are out. God, they lost a linebacker and 2 receivers last week and another wide receiver. He's questionable. That's TCU. A&M, their quarterback's questionable. I don't think they play anybody. Texas is healthy. Tennessee. A couple of DBs are out. Go Georgia. Syracuse. Stanford. Here's Stanford. Daniel's questionable at the hand still. This says Monday, November 13th, so I don't know. I think all you got to do is just look at the line. if he plays, I would think it goes down to 4.5. Although I don't know. I kind of like Cal. So if he doesn't play, I'm all over Cal. If he does play, I'm probably all over the over. Cal's been nothing but high scoring. Stanford, I don't know. They beat Washington State 10-7, and then they play a 100-point game with Colorado when they score 50 points in the second half. They play another good game against good defenses. They've been struggling. USC or UCLA killed them. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at Stanford. They went from the tree to the cardinal. 62-17 to Oregon State. I wondered why Oregon State was favored over Washington. I guess this is why. Washington State 10-7. Washington 42-33. UCLA 42-7. Colorado. So against the strong defense, Oregon 42-6 they lose. UCLA 42-7 they lose. They beat Washington State 10-7. Washington they lose 42-33. Oregon State 62. So the only time they score is against Colorado, a little bit on Washington, and a very little bit on Oregon State. Otherwise, Washington State 10, UCLA, good defense 7, Oregon 6. But they don't have a good defense here. I would say Cal is like Colorado or Washington, where they scored 46 on Colorado, 33 on Washington. So I think we've unlocked the key to imagination there. USC, they only got 10, but then they started figuring it out. So quarterback plays, we go over. Quarterback doesn't play, we go Cal. Yeah. So that's their secret. And that's a lot of teams are like that. Look at the Lions. They play a strong defensive team. They don't show up because they're not good. Then they play the 35 defenses, and all of a sudden you see the high-scoring games, which is the method to my madness. So this game should be 100. It's 55. I'm like, wow. Then I see the quarterback's out for questionable for Stanford. I would bet $1,000 to the nickel on a live bet with Alex that he plays. This is a rivalry game. There's no way this quarterback, if it's just something that he's questionable on, it's not doubtful, he's not out, he's questionable, that he won't play. So I think that makes the play. That's why the line went from 7 to 6.5. Again, it's college. This guy, he's got one chance to play Cal, the hated rival. I think he plays. I think it goes over. Florida State's got Northern Alabama. What the fuck? Northern Alabama. And Alabama's got Chattanooga. I mean, what am I missing here? Kansas State, 9.5, 57.5. So this was 10, went to 8.5, is now 9.5. And 57. So this is really confusing. If Bean's out, why would the over go up? Why would it go from 10 to 8.5? Now Bean's not playing, then it goes to 9.5, but your over doesn't go up. So I think it's up to, if Bean doesn't play, it's Kansas State all the way, laying 9.5. If Bean and Kansas will run the ball. If Bean plays, Kansas will still run the ball, but they'll score a whole lot more. So we will see. Kansas State's won 10 in a row here. This is not like teasing Kansas is not an option. Again, I looked. He's probable with the head. So this was as of today, probable as the head. I'll look in the morning, but I think he plays, you go over. He doesn't play, that's Kansas State. Boise, Utah State. Boise 4.5, 64.5. Can somebody help me on this? The quarterback on Boise is out, yet they're favored over Utah State. This was going to be an over game. Utah State is an over. So that means they score in the mid-30s, they give up 32. Boise scores in the mid-30s, gives up 27. This is overall over. Boise State's quarterback's out. What the fuck? And the line's 4.5. I might have to take Utah State here. I got to check the backup quarterback for Boise, but that's if he's out. Madsen, I think is his name. Utah State, explosive team. I mean, they'll score. That's what you want in a dog, that they can score. And if the quarterback's out, I don't get why 4.5. Kentucky, South Carolina. South Carolina, 1.5, 51.5. Kentucky was favored. Now South Carolina's favored. What are they betting on? Rattler? 51.5. This went from 54 to 51.5. Huh. What the hell's going on in this game? I doubt I can get injuries here. Running back questionable, running back out. Well, no, that's early. Nothing really new. South Carolina, well, they wouldn't. If Rattler was out, it wouldn't go that way. 51. This should be an over. Kentucky's really not that strong defensively. Once we dug into the giving up 50 to Georgia and 50 to Alabama, we go, hardly a 22 defense. So they're really a 30. South Carolina's a 29. They're both over teams. This should be an over, should be an easy over. Although I don't know why Kentucky's line. Let's go back to maybe we don't know yet. Probably 1-4 tonight, Kentucky. What the hell happened here? And this might not say, that's the problem. Sometimes you just got to Google it and say, what's going on? Like Kansas, Jay Bean, probable at the head. 2 receivers, questionable. Maybe the receivers aren't playing. K-State's fine. What am I looking at? Kentucky. Kentucky, running back questionable. O-lineman out. Running back out, but those are September 30th. So there's no injuries to Kentucky. Why the line would go 6 points and the over-under goes down 3? Is there a hurricane happening? But then why would the line go from 4.5 to 1.5? Very confusing. The game of the day, Washington, Oregon State, 1.5, 62.5. Very interesting. Why is Washington the dog here? Anybody can explain that? I'd love to listen. I have no idea how Washington, who beat Oregon, beat some other teams, and they're a dog at Oregon State. What the fuck? Over under is 62. I don't get this line. I mean, you give me Washington as a dog. Thank you, God. I mean, I don't know what else I can say. That's just unbelievable. So hard to understand this line, but I'll take it. If you want to give it to me, I'll take it. That's all I can say. This is what you dream of, getting a team like Oregon as a dog or Ohio State or something. We're going to be getting Ohio State and Michigan. We're going to get Ohio State as a dog. I can't wait. They lost 2 in a row, and what did they do? They changed their defense to stop the run. That's why they're so strong defensively. This is a very strong defense made for one purpose and one purpose only, to stop Michigan's running attack. Because Michigan's been running it down their throat the last 2 years. Just give me 3. Let me go up to 9 is all I asked for. Arkansas playing Florida International, 29.5, 50.5. Florida International W team gives up 29. Arkansas has been struggling there in E with the 27 defense. The Jefferson, not that he hasn't looked good, but I think their coordinator is not good. I don't know if I can lay 30 here, but they'll probably kill them, but I don't know. Florida, Missouri 10.5, 57.5, down from 11.5. Missouri's got the hot hand. Feed Missouri. They've been hot. They played Georgia very well, lost by 9, which is to me is a win, and then they killed Tennessee at home. Now they get Florida at home. They'll kill Florida. Yeah, definitely like Missouri here. Nebraska, Wisconsin 5.5, 36.5. There's only one way to play this. That's under. You got an 18 defense and a 20 defense, but when you got the 8 teams, Oregon, Washington, Oklahoma, Texas, and you're worried about the defense, but you got these spectacular offenses, the games tend to go over. This is what you're looking for, a team with no offense against a team with no offense against 2 good defenses. Yeah, this is, if they get to 20, I'll be shocked. Georgia Tech 6.5, 53.5 to Syracuse. I don't know. Syracuse been good, then they've been terrible. Georgia Tech, I still can't believe they beat Miami. Play high scoring. They lost to Clemson 42-21. So I think Clemson gets after the quarterback. So if you're more of a passing team, Clemson gets pressured like Alabama, right? If you're a passing team, you're fucked because you're not gonna have time to throw. That's what happened with Alabama Ole Miss when it was 24-10. He'd go back to throw and he was sacked. And that's what Georgia does. You go back to throw, you watch Tennessee, they'll go back to throw, they'll be sacked. Milton runs a little bit more, but that's okay. Georgia will be ready. So here, I don't know. I think Syracuse, I think Georgia Tech gets the win. I don't know. 31 defense, so maybe it's an over game if Syracuse shows up. LSU, Bobby Bowe. Where are you, Bobby Bowe? Haven't seen you all week. 31.5, 73.5 against LSU. And Georgia State. Now, you think Georgia State's a good team until you dig in. And when you dig in, you realize they don't have an offense. They're a 17 offense. So I was looking at going over because it's LSU. And then I see that LSU is not we know how strong they are, but Georgia State is not going to score a lot in this game because they don't really have a good offense. Georgia Southern killed them. So I'm off the over on the game. I don't think I'm going to get it. Unless I get 70 points from LSU, I'm not getting there. I don't know that Georgia State will score more than 10. Bobby's on. Oh, did Bobby say he was going to Baton Rouge? No, I thought, is that this week? Well, they have computers there. Shame on him for not joining class. Texas, 7.5, 46.5 to Iowa State. This is a troublesome game. Texas is an A team with an 18 defense, got their quarterback back. Iowa State's an E team with the 20 defense, found a quarterback, plays, how they play. They are pretty much an under team, although every once in a while they play over. Now, I played Texas, Kansas State under. I thought with the backup quarterback was going to be low scoring. No. I think this will be low scoring at a 47, but I ain't going to make the same mistake twice, so I don't know. Do I like Iowa State in 13.5? Probably not. It's a tall order. Texas has the strong defense. I think with the Iowa State defense, it could be an under game, but there's better fish to fry. Fresno State, 23.5, 56.5. Mikey Keene is probable, I think. New Mexico, 36 defense. I think Fresno State, off the loss last week, kills them. San Jose State, San Diego State, 14.5, 48.5. I like San Jose State here. San Diego State's quarterback's questionable. They're a weak team. San Jose State, I think they just killed Fresno State. But I think Mikey Keene got hurt in the game. That's why. So San Diego State's terrible this year. So that's what we think will happen. So, boys, there you go. That's college. Boys and G. Glendetta, Ganesha. That's why I call her G. She's one of our female bettors. So she does play. So anyway, that's what I see. Your free pick is Troy over Lou Lafayette with the Niners. A boatload. I got a 33-unit lock, which I went over, although you don't know what the lock is, but I went over the games. I already got like 6 or 7 plays posted. I'll post a few more. I did play the Colorado-Washington game over 62. Now it's down to 60. I won't play it again because I don't think the 2 points matters. I mean, they're going to cover 56. I don't think it's 54. Well, I don't think they're going to do 55. But 62, you got the prime timers against Washington State, who's been struggling but scored a lot last week. They're at home. Colorado couldn't stop a high school team. And Washington State, I don't know. How the hell do you lose to Stanford 10-7? It just scratched my head. So we got over tonight in that one. I didn't play the South Florida UTSA game. I thought the 66 was a bit high. Frank Harris going against South Florida. South Florida, they got a 36 defense. So I think Utah State or Texas San Antonio will score a bundle. I think I was a little worried about UTS's defense. Not a bad defense at 24. They might win 40-17, and you wouldn't get your 60. So I was a little bit worried about that. I do like it when it's over and over, like in the Colorado-Washington State game. It's a 34 defense against a 30 defense. They both score in the 30s. Okay, I got good offenses, good quarterbacks, and weak defenses. I should score a lot. With UTSA, I got a 24 defense. They might stop me. So that's why I like the overs. And there's not a lot of overs this week. The Z teams. Well, Akron, they lost to EMU. Pitt, as a favorite, won by 8. You would have had 8.5 in BC. You would have won. Coming up, we've got Michigan State as a Z team to Indiana, who's not exactly the best team to bet against. They're a W team. We've got Louisiana Monroe as Z team against Ole Miss. You're laying a lot of points, 37 points, but you got Kiffin who's going to, he'll get to 70 on him, I think. That's a high number, but it's against the Z team. And you got a good offense. This is kind of more what you want is the explosive Ole Miss versus the Z team where they're going to put up at least 50 points. It's a 62, but I don't know that Lou Monroe is going to score in the game. So makes it very difficult to go over. But if you do get the over, if you're over 62, you're going to be over 31. So Ole Miss is going to win by 50 points. Yeah, you get the over, but then you win with Ole Miss. So what's the difference? Let's see. We got an under game in East Car and the Navy. We've got, let's see. We got Kent against Ball State. Both are Z teams, unfortunately. Hawaii is a W team, but they're playing Wyoming, who doesn't score. Nevada against Colorado State. Nevada, the Z team. Colorado State is having trouble scoring. I don't like their quarterback. A versus A, Georgia, Tennessee, but there's a big difference in A versus A here. Tennessee got killed by Missouri. I don't consider them. They're really not an A. They're just statistically an A. Again, they beat Boston College, or they beat Ball State or Bowling Green or the high school team. So it gets them. If you put up a 69-0 against Bowling Green, you're an A team the whole year. So I got to go back and take them out, and then let's see what they really are, because they win 62-0. So their offense and looks a lot better. Let's just go into the SEC and see what they are. And I did that with Kentucky, Tennessee a couple of weeks ago, and I took it over because I thought Kentucky had a good defense until I dug into it and saw they don't have a good defense. And that allowed me to lock Alabama last week, knowing that they don't have a good defense. Alabama must win because they want to get into the playoffs, so keep that in mind. Let's see. So I'm looking for Z teams. Boise, Utah State's over versus over, but the quarterback's out. We got to see. Kentucky, South Carolina. Looks like they're over versus over. Washington, Oregon State is A versus A. Normally we're teasing the dog in that situation. Nebraska, Wisconsin, under. And Georgia State's a Z against LSU. And that's it. San Diego State's a W team. So not as many over versus overs or under versus unders. There's a couple that I have. I got quarterback problems, so they're not over teams without the quarterback. So I got to really check out Boise's backup. And as I say, the backup could be very good too. So that is your college, week 12. A few more weeks. Right around Thanksgiving, it slows down. Then we got the conference championship games, which are the stupidest games in the world. Why aren't they playoff games where the winner goes into the playoff? Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, Alabama, Georgia. Winner goes into the playoffs. Loser gets it's a playoff game. Loser's out. Just like the NFL. You lose that first round game, you're out. It's not like you can keep going. I love when Alabama does that. Well, we beat Georgia, but we're in it anyway. Unbelievable. So keep in mind teams that need to win: Texas, Oklahoma, Oregon, Washington, Michigan, Ohio State. They need the game to win the titles. To get into the playoffs, Alabama can't lose, although they're playing Chattanooga. So if they lose to Chattanooga, I'd love it, but I don't think so. Can you imagine getting knocked out of the playoffs by playing a 50-point favorite Chattanooga and losing the game? Wow. Now, why do they get rewarded by beating Chattanooga 52-0? Why is that even counted? This is the problem, right? So you play a bunch of shit, like Michigan. They played one team, Penn State, who's not nearly as good as any of the Pac-10 teams, right? Oregon, Washington, USC, Utah, Washington State, Oregon State. Penn State's not in that class. Maybe Washington State. Oregon and Washington play all these strong teams. USC. Yeah, by the way, we're going to play USC and UCLA, and what the fuck? How is that? And then here's Penn State. So Michigan's played one maybe decent team who's got 8 receivers out, and so they couldn't throw a pass more than 10 yards. Not hard to play defense. That's why I'm a little bit worried about the Maryland game, but they've got a lot of wide receiver injuries also. Because Michigan, we haven't seen them against the passing attack yet. It's only been we're only on week 12. We haven't seen them against a good quarterback yet. This is hysterical. So with that said, so we'll see. A lot of good plays this week. Yeah, I love the Troy game. The Troy game is a professor right up my alley. Troy they got like a 7 defense right now. You can't even get 10 points on them. Lou Lafayette's got 2 quarterbacks out. The third stringer's playing. Now, he's been playing. It's not like he hasn't. Woolridge is their starter. He's out. The second guy, I think, is out or doubtful. There's another guy who I think's been playing. It's not like they haven't been playing, but they're just we'll see. And they're still scoring a lot, but maybe it's who they played. So there's always that. You've got to dig underneath to see Michigan hasn't played anybody. You give Ohio State credit for beating Notre Dame, who isn't really that good. And then they beat Penn State, who really isn't that good. And they beat Wisconsin, who is not good. So Ohio State's 3 wins that you're trying to give them credit for, Notre Dame and Penn State, aren't really that impressive. Again, this is where the Pac-10 is getting fucked. Because Washington beat Oregon and they're undefeated, should be in the playoffs. Oregon's killing everybody, should be in the playoffs. Both of those teams should be in the playoffs. Utah's getting fucked by the doctor. USC does no defense. Arizona's better than USC. Oregon State looks pretty sharp, although Uglia Buglia. We got him in a big game this week, so he'll choke up. That's what you've got to look at. So Oregon must. So that's why I like Oregon. They're playing Arizona State, and they're giving some points, but they've got the one loss. They can't afford a second loss. They're out of the playoffs with the one loss, and then I don't know how how the Pac-10 playoff is. If they're going to play, if Oregon plays Washington again, and then it's stupid, or if Washington's going to play UCLA or USC or Arizona from the other division. These whole conference championships are just incredibly stupid and meaningless. So let's say it's Washington against Arizona, and Washington loses. Now what do? You put Oregon in. Washington beat Oregon. They have one loss too. Washington should not be out because of the conference championship game. So this is stupid. So it'll be better with 12 teams next year, but they'll still screw it up. It should be like the NFL. You win your division, you're in. A couple of wild cards, you're in, and there's no question. Even if you're like Tampa last year and you go, what, 9-9 or 9-8, you won your division, you're in. That's it. Stop fucking around. But even the best team, Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, had a few losses. I don't understand in college that you got to go undefeated to make the playoffs. Excuse me? How in the hell is the Pac-10 supposed to go undefeated with that schedule? Or in fact, the Big 12 with Texas, Oklahoma, last year TCU, Kansas State. How are you supposed to go undefeated there? Are you kidding me? And then Alabama plays what are they playing? Central St. Louis State or something this week? Chattanooga? Jesus, you got to be kidding me. Anyway, you win your conference, and even trying to figure out how to win the conference doesn't make sense. Why is there conference championship games? There's not in the pros. Baltimore wins their conference they're in. There's now Baltimore plays Pittsburgh to see who wins. Oh my God. So that's the thing. If you're playing the regular season, Washington beat Oregon, Washington's in. Oregon's a very strong team. Maybe you put Oregon in also. There's a good case that Oregon's beating the shit out of everybody. So anyway, that's the look at football. Just keep your eye on the injuries. They change the dynamics. That's the point. That's why you look at the injuries. Even now, I'm waiting for Kansas. I think Bean's going to play. Stanford, is their quarterback going to play? So you've got to keep an eye on that to make sure you've got the proper bets, because you don't want to bet the backup quarterback. I've been getting screwed where the starter's fine and get like Burrow last night. He's fine. And then he breaks in the game throwing a pass. What the fuck was that all about? So keep that in mind. There's nothing you can do. This is why you don't bet $100,000 on a game because of injuries. And you can't bitch when you lose because Burrow breaks his wrist in the second quarter. There's nothing you can do. And don't be naive. Oh, great pick. Oh, bullshit. It was a great pick. You can't forecast Burrow breaking his wrist in the game. That's my point. There's nothing you can do. It's part of the gamble. And that's it. But you must understand the game before you play the game. Like I said, what was that? Attack on Wall Street. The guy plays $60,000 in a real estate trust. He's got to understand the game. If they can't afford the mortgage and they default, the real estate trust is going to go bankrupt, and you're going to lose your money. And so you've got to understand that's the game, and as you should be watching. Oh shit! Look what's happening in the real estate market. I better get out of it. I need to ask that question before. Can I just sell it at any time and go? He's sitting there under the illusion that he's going to get 8% guaranteed every year. So he's not even worried that the housing market's going. He thinks, well, no, because I'm watching it, and he says, "Oh, you guaranteed me 8% a year." How stupid are you? You nobody can guarantee you anything. It's like me. Well, I guaranteed Cincinnati. Yeah, but Joe Burrow you guaranteed the game. Not if Joe Burrow breaks his wrist. So, I mean, that's the point. So the attack on Wall Street guy doesn't understand the game. He doesn't understand if people stop paying their mortgage because the interest rates go up and they had no credit in the first place. I probably need to get out of my real estate trust. And if I really didn't want to risk it, and I'm not smart enough to get into gold, which is what I should have done with my money, I should have at least just played, Coca-Cola stock or something. I shouldn't have been in real estate if the whole thing's crashing, or I should keep an eye on it or tell my broker, keep an eye on it, get me out of it. But the broker won't do it because he cares about commission, part of the game. So when you deal with handicappers, you've got to understand, I'm at this level and they're at this level, and they're going to give you a game. Yeah, I'll give you Michigan over Maryland, and it loses. Do you know why they gave you Michigan over? No, you can't. There's no excuse. You need to understand the bet. So if you have a handicapper that you use and he gives you that and you make the bet, you can't blame the handicapper. You blame yourself for making a bet without understanding it. Or why did it lose? Oh, the quarterback got hurt. Oh, okay. Well, that's the game. The game is injuries, and the game is what you think. So you better be careful if you have other handicappers to know what the fuck you're doing and what the fuck they're doing, because they don't know. Believe me, they are not close to my skill set. Not close. So you're getting a very good education here, so you understand that. But when I go through these games, you tell me another handicapper that gets as thorough as I do, and I guarantee you there isn't anybody, because you have to think creatively, which is what I do. Being an INFJ also helps. So when I look at this, and I pick a Troy out of over Lou Lafayette. Okay, how do I come up with that shit? And that's the point. That's what separates me from the rest, is I can come up with the Troy going, fuck, they're killing everybody. Their defense isn't giving up 10 points. Lou Lafayette's injured. Where are you going to go? They're all going to give you Michigan or Ohio State. And they don't even know why. It's just the name, and they're good. Don't waste your money on these handicappers. You need to learn it enough that you can make your picks. And until you learn it enough for you to make your picks, please don't use other handicappers that cannot give you good reasons for why they're making the picks. And Same thing with this, obviously with the stocks or anything. If you're not buying gold, you're out of your mind. I mean, as I said in my other video, it's a Ponzi scheme, and the only way out of the Ponzi scheme maze is gold. If you can't stay in the money with Ponzi scheme, all the money is being Ponzi scheme. So if you stay in the money and not into the gold, and you're going to lose it all, and don't come crying to me when you lost it all. You know you're going to lose it all. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. That's what's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And we got Russia, China pushing for the gold, which kills the dollar, and that's the end of the game. America doesn't want to end the game, and they're all powerful, but they used to be, not anymore. Their military is terrible. It's all gone. They had the Ukraine fight Russia. They couldn't even fight Russia. They had the Ukraine fight Russia. And why they're going to military, I don't know. So is it so these guys, the defense contractors, can make money? Buy gold, fellas. I mean, as simple as that. So I get an email for a job at a law firm for like a senior financial analyst that pays $21 an hour. I get 60 an hour. What do you, master's, double major, and 25, 30 years of experience, and you want to offer me $21? So I'm taking it as a scam. Like, I'm gonna take the interview with no intent of taking the job. Or I thought about it today. I'll take the job and I'll work 15 minutes an hour, because you're paying me 1/3 time. So I'll work 20 minutes an hour for you. The other 40 minutes I'll be doing football, and I'll be studying gold. But it's like, are you out of your fucking mind? You want to pay me $25,000 for a year of work at $20 an hour? I made that at the grocery store when I was 16 years old. I started at $2.37 an hour. I went to $10.37 an hour as I turned into a stock boy. I put beer and pop on the shelf and dairy, and I unloaded trucks, basically. I made $10.37 an hour. And that was $20,000 a year, and you're going to give me $20 an hour. So I'm going to teach him about market. So I'm going to be very smart aleck in this interview. I don't want the job, but I'm curious who has the balls to offer somebody like me $20 an hour. So I'm going to say, well, you're an attorney. What do you charge an hour? $300-$400 an hour? So let's say I offered you, let's say it's $300. I'll give you $100 an hour. That's how you're insulting me, by only offering me $20 for something that should be $60. What are you thinking here, that you're going to offer somebody with a master's $20 an hour? I offer not even a master, just a regular person $20 an hour for a senior analyst position. They shouldn't get under 110,000. Are you out of your fucking mind? So I want to interview this guy. He's not interviewing me. I'm interviewing him, and I'm going to pick his brains, and I'm going to fucking INFJ this guy. I'm going to kick his ass. You don't do that to people. That's insulting. So I won't. That's like if somebody offered me $10 for my picks. It's like, it's insulting. No. If you can't afford to bet, then don't bet. If you can't afford to bet, then I charge $100 a week. Period. But you get great picks and you're going to win. So it's up to you. But that's what we're doing. So this would be curious. I think it's Monday evening, 6 o'clock. Yeah. I had another interview with a law firm, and it was in Detroit, and I don't like driving to Detroit. It's too much construction, and I don't like Detroit. It's very dangerous. And he says, well, would you work in Detroit? And I said, absolutely not. I don't. I'm not going to endanger myself to where. And I said something like, I don't like attorneys anyway. You're all scumbags. I don't want anything to do with you. So anyway, with that said, Daria's got the flu, so I'm hoping she gets better. She went to work yesterday, and she said, I don't feel good. I'm tired. I got a temperature. I'm going home. And so she went to the doctor's. But anyway, so she's, at least we're conversing. I think she finally gets me, like, don't, like, I think she thought when she didn't want to tell me about this clinic. And so when she did, I was like, that's fine. And I think that bothered her, is how I would take it. Like, oh, I don't want to lose him. He might leave me if I go to this clinic. And I says, no, why would I leave you? Why would I? I don't care. You do what you got to do. But she knows I do football and she knows I do gold. So she's fine with that. So it's got to be a give and take. But anyway, that's where we're at with that. Don't watch Andrew McGuire today. It was terrible. It was nothing new. It was just a joke, although you can read my comments. My best comment is this last one here, when I kind of sum everything up.
As we outlined in our last.
So, the Teaser King. Why do you keep talking paper gold instead of a real physical market? What does the Fed have to reprice gold? Or why does the Fed have to reprice gold? Just let the market do it like every other asset. I'm going to even like myself. Then the next one, why do we keep using the paper price? It's such BS. You lie about a lot. We need a free physical market. Why do we need the Fed to revalue gold, especially when they don't have any? Why not just let the free market value the physical gold and stop the Ponzi scheme? This is worse than Madoff, and you can't explain anything here. Listen, Teaser King, he's an economist. Like, then there was one other one. So when does this Ponzi scheme end? When does the COMEX paper market stop being used and we get a fair market value of physical gold? According to you and Alistair, you keep saying it's not gold going up, it's paper going down, but you're both wrong. If that was the case, with the 20% inflation, gold should be priced at $20,000 and silver $2,000. The money's losing its value, but gold isn't going up. And all you say, it's not gold going up, it's the paper going down, but the paper's going down, but the gold's not going up. What the fuck are you talking about? Then my favorite, you sound like Madoff. You say a lot, but nothing makes sense. See, I like the more I can use Madoff and the more I can use the real physical price, the market price. It's not what they understand. That's economics. They don't get that. So economics is basically how money works, how interest rates work, how finance works, how the markets work, supply, demand, which basically means you can sell something in a market if there's demand for it. If there's no demand, it can't. So that's what's happening to the dollar. There really isn't demand for it. It really doesn't have a value. It's just that you get paid in it. And then, so if I get a job, I get paid in it. Then I go and pay my bills and everything in it. But I'm still in the paper Ponzi scheme. See, you're still in the Ponzi scheme. We're all in the matrix. So we're all in the matrix. We just don't know. We just go to work and do whatever. And that's really the problem here is we're all in this Ponzi scheme. And the government has the money and printing it to zero. We're all getting fucked. And we don't know we're in a Ponzi scheme, right? Well, we do because I figured it out, but we are in a Ponzi scheme. So that's why you get out of it with the gold. The gold gets you out of the Ponzi scheme. The silver gets you out of the Ponzi scheme because they're printing the money to themselves, and then the money has less value because you're printing it. They think if costs go up, we don't care. We'll just print more money. They don't understand that you can't just keep printing money and keep having this debt. Well, if the debt goes up, we'll just print more money. They don't understand you can't. It's not possible. We understand it, and then we realize the dollar has no value, and then we realize we'll trade our dollars for gold, and that's how we'll be okay. The banks realize it. That's why they're buying all the big bars, the James Bond bars, and Russia and China understand. Why would Putin have 32,000 tons of gold? If he didn't think if he thought it was worthless, why would he have any? So that's the critical thing, is understanding. If you don't understand anything, and Putin's got 32,000 tons, buy it because Putin's got 32,000 tons. He's got nothing better to do with his money than buy gold. Maybe it's a good reason. So anyway, that is the bottom line, as Stone Cold said so. Good luck this weekend. I'll be on tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, as games are on big noon. The big noon games, Illinois, Iowa, Baylor, TCU, Minnesota, Ohio State, Cincinnati, West Virginia, Michigan, Maryland. What the fuck USC, UCLA is doing on at noon? It's 9 in the morning for these guys. Oklahoma, BYU, Oregon, Arizona State, another 9 o'clock in the morning game. What are these guys doing? Utah, Arizona, is it at noon, or maybe it's a little bit later? Sometimes these are 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock games. And then your night games are going to be Cal, Stanford, Kansas State, Kansas, Kentucky, South Carolina, Washington, Oregon State, Florida, Missouri, Nebraska, Wisconsin, LSU, Texas, Fresno State, San Jose State. So, there's a lot of games to play. You got to be careful on these noon, like USC, UCLA. It's fucking 9 in the morning. Who the fuck's going to the game at 9 in the morning? They got to get up at 9 in the morning to do this. I can't believe they're scheduling these games. So at least Colorado, Washington State's 10:30, so it's 7:30. Michigan State, Indiana at noon. Michigan, Maryland at noon. Makes no sense why Michigan and Michigan State would be on the same time. Louisville, Miami, Rutgers, Penn State. Maybe I got the time switched. Southern Miss, Mississippi State. Oklahoma, BYU is noon. Ole Miss is noon. Okay. Alabama against Chattanooga. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're not that early. All right. Utah, Arizona is 2:30. Makes more sense. Georgia, Tennessee, 3:30. Iowa, 3:30. USC, UCLA is 3:30. Okay. That makes more sense. Where they are in here is the way they came out versus they switched for time. Okay, so I feel better then. Notre Dame's 3:30. Why isn't Notre Dame a night game? Ohio State at 4 o'clock. Oh, it's Big Ten Network. Oregon, Arizona State, 4 o'clock. Oak State, Houston, 4. Cal, Stanford at 6:30. Kansas at 7. Washington, 7:30. Missouri, 7:30. Nebraska, 7:30. LSU, 8 o'clock. I think Bobby going? I think Bobby's going to that game. Yeah, against Georgia State. Yeah, good choice. Yeah, don't go to the Alabama game, Bobby. Go to the Georgia State game. Texas, Iowa State at 8. And that's it. San Jose State, your 10:30. Try to win all your money back on that game. Hey, Ron. Why do I eat during every class? Why we have to eat during every class? Well, I can tell you why I have to eat during every class. I don't know about you. I don't eat until noon. So I fast. So I don't eat a breakfast. And then on top of it, I go to the pool and I go to the gym and work out at 10 o'clock, 10:30. So not only am I hungry because I haven't eaten all day, but then I add that workout. So it's either wait another hour, eat, and then do the show, or eat during the show, which I don't know. I watch a lot of movies where they're eating during the movie. There's a movie, Natasha. It's a Russian movie, and the whole movie they're eating. Every just about every scene they're eating dinner or lunch. So it's just I haven't had time to eat, and I'm very hungry, and I want to make sure I get some protein in me because now it's 5:30 and I got to eat dinner. So my window is between maybe 11:30 to 7 where I can eat, and then I don't eat after. It's a regimen I've been on for a couple of years. You fast, you just really skip breakfast. So because of the swim, I could come on at 11, but I'd still have to eat because I'm not eating breakfast at 8 or 8:30. So that's why I'm eating. Does it bother you that I eat it? That's why you fast forward the class until I am done. Well, you're missing a lot of information. This is a very valuable class. Mostly the first one I was eating was the Ponzi scheme. So in football, I didn't. But if it bothers you, I apologize. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but you really want to get the information I'm giving you. I'm teaching you, right? So there's a lot you're going to learn as much as ignore the eating part of it. But yeah, I'm really hungry and I don't eat breakfast. So you're the first person that is concerned about me eating, which is fine. But again, you're here for the information. This is a class. So I don't see anything wrong with eating during class. As long as I can do my eating, like if I go get my coffee, I walk away and come back. I mean, I'm just taking a quick break, but I guess you ask yourself, what are you here for? If you're here to learn, does it matter that I'm eating? Does that take away from the eating of it? I mean, I don't know. Nothing for something. Got to stay fueled up. Eat when you are hungry. Well, that's, again, the point of it. I mean, I'm not doing a show that like I'm acting or, that you're watching, but I know a lot of shows and movies, they eat in it. Do you not watch the movie when they start eating or they have dinner or lunch? I don't know why that, I understand it bothers you. I don't know why. And again, I ask you why you're here. And if you're here to learn how to bet football or economics or gold or things like that, then why does it matter? But I'm hungry because I don't eat breakfast. And it's either do the show now or do it tonight, but I want to get it. I think it's a good time. I thought about doing it a little early, but I still got to eat. Or I can't eat before like 11:30, 12. Like tomorrow I'll eat about 11:30. So I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's just, I'm just not hungry. I'm not hungry now, but I'm going to eat dinner soon. I got to cook some hamburgers, but I can't go this is 2 hours, 54 minutes. So if I didn't eat during the show, so I get home, I think I started at 2:00 today because it's, 3 hours. So I started about 2:00 today. If I didn't eat during the show, I'd now go till 5:40, and I'm not in the middle of doing a 24-hour fast right now. So sometimes I do that. Sometimes I do a 72-hour fast. So you can catch those shows without eating. But I do it for my health. My blood pressure is 120 because I don't eat. All hours, I'm eating from noon to 7 roughly is my window. So that should be your window. Again, I'm sorry that bothers you, but it's just, I don't know what else to eat. I really don't, maybe I shouldn't do this during my eating window, right? I should do it at 9 in the morning till noon and then eat, or 7 at night. I can do that, but like tomorrow, I'll do the show from 10 to noon. I probably won't start eating till noonish. I won't eat at 10. It's too early for me. But in the scheme of everything, I don't see that as a big deal. Everybody's different. Do your own thing. Don't need to explain when and why you eat food. Well, he's asking the question and bringing it up, but I do appreciate it. Why is he bringing it up in the first place? Why do you have to eat during every class? Well, I don't eat during every class, but I do eat at the time. Like I said, tomorrow I won't eat probably till noon. But why does that matter? So I'm eating an avocado. Like, I don't understand the problem. I can't comprehend it. We've got heavy inflation and the money's going to zero. And I'm telling you to buy gold and you're worried about me eating? Okay, whatever. But I won't stop because I'm starving and I want to focus on the class. And if I was teaching it in a class, I'd be eating then too. I wouldn't be eating like I am. I'd be eating, I'd have my water and I'd have probably an apple and an avocado, and I'd be eating during class. Oh, well. Anyway. So what's more important, Ron, the learning or the fact that I'm eating and it bothers you for some reason, which I don't know why. If it doesn't bother Bobby Bo, I'm not worried about it. Anyway, so that's the games tomorrow and on this weekend. The pros are very difficult because all the injuries. Now we got Cincinnati with a new quarterback. How do we bet them? We got Fields coming back. How do we bet them? Is Dobbs going to be the quarterback for Minnesota? How do we bet them? All these, we don't have enough statistics and data on to really understand how the team's going to perform. So how can we bet? That's half the NFL with the new quarterbacks. You bring in Richardson and you bring in Vince Young and you bring in, Young, Richardson, and who's the other one? Stroud. You don't know how to bet them. Why are they even playing as rookies? I don't know. Very stupid. Anyway, that's what's going on. I'm going to make some hamburgers. That's okay with Ron. I'm going to eat. Giving you shit, Ron, because you shouldn't be giving me shit. Anyway, any other questions or normal comments, please feel free. I'll give you another 2 minutes, and then I am going to eat. Well, I got to cook my hamburgers. Tomorrow, General Chow. That's why I do Chinese on Saturday, because I cook a lot just because I want to eat healthy. And then my free day is just go get General Chow. All right. Anything else? Free pick again. Troy over Lou Lafayette, laid the 10.5 with San Francisco against Tampa. And we'll see what happens there. Anyway, that's, I guess, it. So again, watch my other video I did earlier, which was on the Ponzi scheme. So Ron missed the whole Ponzi scheme, I guess. All right. Well, you missed a lot there, Ron, unfortunately. So in the Ponzi scheme, I'm talking how the whole world's a Ponzi scheme right now. They're printing all their money instead of Madoff getting guys to give them, and then there's all these people. So instead of us giving him money, and then he needs guys giving him money up top so he can pay everybody who bought in, every government just prints the money and they keep it and they don't have to pay out. So they've totally changed the Ponzi scheme We don't need people giving us money, and we don't need people giving us money to give out to the people. We just print the money right off the machine and just keep it. It's a beautiful Ponzi scheme. The problem is everybody gets fucked. Everybody loses all their money because the money becomes worthless. You can't just keep printing and not have an effect on it. The only way out of the Ponzi scheme is gold and silver. So you missed that, Ron. Not good. No, I'm a good cook. A lot of olive oil and basil's really good, and some garlic and pepper. So I can cook, that's for sure. So have a good weekend, everybody. I will talk to you about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll go through college. Really, I think we've covered it between yesterday and today. We're just really going to go through the line changes that we see. There's not much else to really say about it. So that's what we're going to do. All right, www.teaserking.com. I have a 33-unit lock. Hopefully I'll have a few more. If not, I got 6 or 7 strong plays that could turn into locks. And that's it. So have a good night, everybody. Have a good weekend. www.teaserking.com. Enjoy your nights.